Hey everybody, it's Calvin Nation here with another video. And in today's video we're going to be reviewing this guy right here. This is the orange FFG Endura in FRN. This is Spyderco's latest FRN Endura 4 to add to their collection. They have it in 5 other colors, but the orange one is their latest one to add. I think it looks sick, and they really catered to the community on this one because a lot of guys were asking for this. I know I always wanted an orange Endura as well, but I think it looks sick, and this is my latest Spyderco to add to my collection, actually along with my Sage 1, got those two at the same time, and I absolutely love it so far. I do have an old Endura 4 in black, all black with a black blade, which is partially serrated. It is taken apart right now, so I don't have it in front of me, but this is my second Endura. I like this one a lot more. I'm really glad I purchased it. So like my other reviews, we'll get started with what the company themselves has to say about the knife. Then we'll talk a little bit more about what I like or dislike about the knife. So here's what Spyderco has to say. If you already own a Delica or Endura, you have one of the best-selling knives Spyderco makes. This knife you have just acquired is a bit different from the normal C10 Endura 4 and C11 Delica 4 lightweights. They are now available in a range of new handle colors with full flat ground blades. Their FRN fiberglass reinforced nylon handles come in new vibrant tones including blue, green, brown, gray, and purple. Molded onto the handle surface is a bi-directional texturing for slip-free tactile traction. Inside the handle are dual skeletonized stainless steel liners which strengthen the knife without adding additional weight and double as anchors for external and internal components to attach through, generating more sturdiness and rigidity. They go on to say that these blades are full flat ground VG10 with a thinner, highly refined cutting edge and a larger 13mm opening hole. Added to the blade spine is slip-resistant jimping phosphorus bronze washers, smooth out the open and close action, and the clip is upgraded to a 4-way tip up, tip down, left or right handed carry. The flat ground Endura and Delica lightweights are produced in limited numbers as part of the 2010 production lineup. Okay, so that's what Spyderco has to say about their knife. I really enjoy how they give such a detailed description, because if you haven't seen any reviews on any of their knives really, and if you're looking it up on their website, you can get a really detailed opinion or description on what the knife is going to be like. So I really enjoy that. But now let's go on with what I think of the knife, and again we'll start with that blade. So let's have a look at these markings here. It is in VG10, says there Spyderco VG10, which is a Japanese steel, so obviously it is made in Japan, Seki City, Japan. So let's have a look at the tip. One thing that I kind of dislike just aesthetically about the knife is that it does drop. I think with the overall blade shape, that little drop doesn't, add a whole lot to the beauty of the knife, but it does help with the EDC side of things, making the tip a little bit more strong. I think it would have looked cool if the edge sweep here went all the way up in line with a straight spine, if you know what I mean. So if it just kind of continued a little bit as that spine continued just straight forward along with parallel with that edge, but obviously the tip would be a little bit more delicate. The way they designed this tip is to really be the best of both worlds. You can see there it's still really quite fine, but that drop gives it a little bit more strength, so it's not going to break super easy, but you can still do those fine tasks with the tip. It does come again in VG10. I think maybe you can pick that up on the camera, but it has that really tight grain structure, really fine grain, makes it quite hard, but also gives it amazing edge retention and also amazing corrosion resistance. It's not going to be quite as hard as S30V. I'm no steel expert, but as far as I know, not quite as hard as S30V. Better corrosion resistance, but also great edge retention. So I love VG10. All of my Spydercos that came in VG10 have absolutely amazed me. I'm a huge fan of VG10, and it does come amazingly sharp, shaving sharp right out of the box. They have that refined, they say, edge, which I believe is a 30-degree edge, which means a 15-degree on both sides. I believe that's what most Spydercos come in, but that's going to be amazingly sharp. But yeah, you can definitely pick out on that camera that it's a little bit different looking than some other steels. You can kind of see some more horizontal grains, which I think looks super cool. One thing to note about VG10 in my experience is it actually kind of smudges. It doesn't rust or stain as much, but it shows fingerprints a little bit more easy, even some oil, like just naturally from your hands. I find it shows it more than some of the other common steels out there. But you do have a nice enlarged Spyderco hole. I think it's 1/2 inch across, yep, and 13 millimeters in diameter, which allows for the opening action to be really quite smooth. It's easy to get your thumb in there. I think a lot of people like to do this. I'm really not a fan of that way, using the fingernail with the thumb kind of bent. Like pretty much all my knives, thumb stud or not, I usually put my thumb straight down on it and then just open it like that. It really is quite smooth, even despite having that lock back. And I'll talk a little bit more about that lock back a bit later. But even despite that lock back, you can open it pretty easy. And with the Spyder drop, nice and easy. You can even open it pretty easy in reverse grip. Oops, didn't quite do it. I usually use my middle finger. So pretty easy deployment. Let's move on towards the handles. You can see the orange FRN just looks absolutely amazing. Like they say, it's got that bi-directional textured FRN. Let's have a real close look at that, if we can focus. So that's super cool, provides amazing grip. I think it looks awesome too. FRN definitely is not as cool, I think, as G10. I'm definitely a fan of G10 a little bit more. But the way they do this FRN definitely works for me. You can see there, it says Spyderco Endura 4. And you can see how that directional texturing is not only going horizontal left and right, it's 360 degrees, so that's really cool. So let's have a look. Actually, I forgot about the jimping here. It's got a really nice jimping. I think Spyderco's jimping is extremely simple, but works the best. I haven't come across a knife that really outperforms a Spyderco jimping-wise. Also with that hole, it causes a natural thumb ramp in the blade, so you get some really extreme grip on there. One thing I do like about a lot of other Spyderco knives that doesn't have on the Endura is that kind of half and half choil between the handle and the blade. I find this, I'm kind of always struggling to find the best grip for my fingers down here, or more specifically my pointer finger. Sometimes I kind of want to go up here, which you definitely could in some lighter tasks, but I find just where your pointer finger wants to land, it just doesn't feel super comfortable. But it's definitely manageable. Things kind of like the Sage 1 or the military, paramilitary, they have that nice finger choil there. Even my Dragonfly, actually I have my military here. I really like how, whoa, it's unfocused, how there's that half and half finger choil there. So it's your finger's going to naturally land in there perfectly, and it feels amazing. By the way, looking at the handles, you can see the FRN is quite a bit brighter than the G10. It's almost fluorescent. It looks super cool. I also have my 915 Triage here. So there's 3 of my orange knives. You can kind of see the differences. FRN definitely has kind of a deeper looking color, definitely more bright as well. So I really enjoy that FRN. So let's put those guys aside. And let's have a look at this back lock. So I'm sure you guys all mostly know how that works. There's just the locking bar which rides over the whole tang of the blade and lands in a groove cut out to the tang in both open and closed position. So the reason why maybe deployment on a back lock is a little bit harder is because the lock is always touching the tang. As you can see there, as you move it, the tang rotates and opens up that locking bar, which then locks into the blade. So you're always going to have more resistance on a back lock compared to maybe a liner lock. But definitely not a fan of the back lock compared to a liner lock. I think it's just not as easy to close. You can do that little trick where you just pop it down, let the blade land on your pointer finger, kind of change your grip, and then close it like that. But definitely not as much as a fan of the lock back, just for certain issues. Again, the deployment's a little bit slower, and unlocking it and closing may be a little bit slower as well. I also not a huge fan of that cutout there. It kind of reminds me of my olden days when I had those cheapy Walmart lockbacks that were like $5 that I always used to carve with when I was a little kid. But I don't know, not a huge fan of the lockback. Let me know what you guys think of it as well. Love to hear your guys' opinions on your favorite type of locking mechanism. So, not much more to talk about. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter compared to some of my other videos I've been putting out lately, but it's already getting up there in time, so hopefully we can get this finished soon. Let's have a look at those stainless steel liners. You can see they are milled out quite extensively, and this does only come in 3.4 ounces, so that's amazing. Nice weight for EDC. Definitely a manageable weight. Really doesn't make itself too known in the pocket. Carries nice. So let's have a little look at that pocket clip. Obviously it's going to carry about that deep, so not super deep, but I really am the guy who doesn't have a huge problem ever with carry options. I don't need it to be completely concealed. It doesn't matter to me. But like they said in the description, it does come in left and right carry, both tip up and tip down. Comes in a tip up position out of the box. So yeah, I guess that's it. Got that lanyard hole too. Hopefully I didn't really miss anything. I absolutely love the knife. Definitely some things that I don't necessarily care for about the knife, but either way this knife performs amazingly in EDC. I've been carrying it a ton. It looks great, and I absolutely love it. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully I didn't miss anything for you, but if I did, don't hesitate to leave me a comment or send me a message. So thank you guys for watching, take care, and I'll see you for the next video.